Hi everyone, it's Lorene. I thought I would do something different this week and give you guys like a tour of the garden and the little farm here that we're doing. So I guess come on in and I'll walk you through. That's Ivy, he's my little hunter. He probably will follow us around. Okay, so come on back to the backyard. I didn't clean up for you guys, so it's gonna be kind of messy. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Okay, so welcome to my backyard. When I decided to grow flowers in my side yard, we kind of had to rearrange everything, and that means that all the vegetables had to come into the backyard. And we have a lot kind of going on this summer. If you see some tables that my son built. My son is engaged to be married, so we're going to have a lovely engagement party here. But we needed to seat 20 people, so I insisted that we made some beautiful wood tables, so we have a nice long table to sit at. We're gonna make a bench. We still have some wood to make a bench, and we'll eat off of china, and I'll make it really pretty, and I'll probably bring you guys along too. Okay, so let's see what we can find on the tour. Our little bar area that I usually set up. I have a little hutch there. Usually I set up the drink. I'm half Italian and half Irish, so I like to serve a lot of drinks and a lot of food and make people merry. So coming down this way, we have kind of a little bit of a shade garden that's kind of morphed over the last couple of years. I just inherited these planters, and I discovered that I absolutely love begonias as a nice annual. They're just a little very sparkly in this kind of bleak corner over here. It looks really pretty, but last year I kind of stuffed in all these hostas, and it really just kind of filled in this bed really pretty. There's some astilbe in there, ferns, there's several hydrangeas. Some of them are just for foliage, they never really bloom. It's a kind of specific hydrangea that it is. And then on to the chickens. It's a little messy in here. We're giving 6 chickens to my sister-in-law. She's got some chickens at her house, and she needs to add to her flock so that we can get some of these numbers down. We have a little too many chickens right now. Hi, girls. But the newer chickens aren't old enough to lay. Our older girls that are in the front here, these are older ladies, and they lay beautiful green and blue eggs, and they're just beautiful. And we also got some eggs delivered today, so we're hatching some chickens out that are going to be beautiful layers too. So shuffling of chickens around. Hi, Ivy. That's my husband's weeding chair. He's very good at weeding. Okay, so this is kind of the back garden, and I'll kind of bring you in. This is a smoke bush that I adore. This is some bee balm that gets terribly large that you have to kind of, I actually use it as foliage because it's holds up great in a vase, and it gets a little too long and leggy in the garden, and it's gonna give me another flush back of growth, so I'm not worried about that. All right, so let's go like along the back here. So this is along the back fence, so that's kind of the back side of my house there. I'll show you the veggie beds. Those are all really pretty. But Ivy, take me to where you hunt. Ooh, we have a camera back here too. Okay, so let's go take a look at the veg beds. That's kind of, my husband's name is Phil, and that's Phil's domain. I let him rule that roost, mostly so that he stays out of the flower beds. Okay. So the tomatoes kind of grew overnight. Those are looking really, really good. In this bed, I have mostly heirlooms and slicers. I'm a huge tomato fan, so is my husband. And I kind of like to can a lot. So over here we have kind of the, you know, paste tomatoes kind of grow a little crazy. So this is the crazier bed of tomatoes that are a little unruly. That's one way to catch a bird. We're doing onions this year, which is great. I wish I had had a little bit more patience in planting them, but those all look really good. You know, I try to grow things that we eat, and yet here's a huge 3 rows of beets. We don't eat that many beets. I don't know why I did that, but the carrots are beautiful. Here, I'll pull a carrot for you. Look at this. Oh my goodness. Look at that. Oh my gosh. And they're really, really good. They're really, really good. Very good. A little dirty, but it's okay. It's good. Very sweet. So, root crops really benefit from cold weather, because when a plant gets cold, I should hold up here. When a plant gets cold, it sends its sugars down to the roots because it's afraid it's going to freeze. So it makes like carrots sweeter, potatoes sweeter. That's where all the carbohydrates are that stores, like for dahlia storage. It's the sugars in the tuber. Okay. I don't need to cook now. All right. So, squash in this bed. More begonias because I couldn't help myself because they really do spark. Like, look at, bing, I see them over there. Okay. So, squashes. I love a patty pan squash. And if you know me, you know I love to make hot sauces. But if you know me, you know that black pepper is spicy and it's too much. So I make very spicy sauces for other people to enjoy. And this year, I think I have the all-star cast of peppers. So let me talk you through them. Okay, so in row number 1, oh, how can you read that tag? Tie hot. Tie hot. In this bed, this is a habanero. It's so little. This one is, I believe, a jalapeno. Carolina Reaper. Ghost. And then these are little caparinos. So these are like what you stuff, the little peppers that you stuff, I don't know, like a piece of provolone and prosciutto or something like that. Those are really good. Hi, Ivy. And then look, the first black-eyed Susan. Little pop on there. That'll grow that whole archway and fill it to the top. It'll be so pretty. Okay, let's go over and check out our garlic. I don't know if you've ever grown garlic before, but it's quite a wonderful crop and fun little plant. You can even grow it from just store-bought garlic. What you do is you buy a clove of garlic, you break it up, and you plant the individual cloves of garlic. You plant them in the fall, just like you would a tulip bulb, and they overwinter, and then they kind of are the first to sprout up, and then they create this beautiful row of foliage And around June, you'll start to notice that it sends up a single kind of flower-like scape, they call it. They call these garlic scapes. And what you do is, once it's made a curly Q, like so, you want to pull them. So you pull the kind of the flower off. And what that does is that tells the plant to send most of the energy down into the bulb to make a bigger, fatter bulb. If we had let this gone to flower, it would have created a seed and not such a bigger bulb. So, but this delicious scape can now be used to freshen up sauces or stews, or even a garlic scape pesto is delicious. So we collect these as they curly Q up on the garlics. Then what's going to happen is you're noticing the foliage will start to yellow, just like as it would in a tulip bulb after it kind of flowers and matures. And as these yellow, I'll keep an eye on it. And once about maybe 60% of the garlic is yellow, I'll start to harvest it, and then I'll dry it off in the greenhouse. Maybe I'll do a video. That would be kind of fun. And this is kind of my crazy brassica bed. We've never done cauliflower, and it's done so good. We actually had bok choy in these rows right here. So this is kind of interesting. So I reseeded bok choy in here, and I direct sowed it into the bed. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna kind of thin it out, because I don't need this many bok choy, and nor would anything come of them. So I'm gonna kind of thin them out and leave them in a row, and I will do them, well, haphazardly, about every 4 inches apart. Bok choy you want to really harvest on the smaller side. Mikey says about the size of your hand a little bok choy should fit in. And they're great in, Mikey likes to add them to his ramen, literally his like inexpensive ramen. And sometimes he makes egg dishes with it. I like it just in stir fry. Weeding as I go too. But that's just a little something that I have to kind of come around and do, and kind of. And then I have some nasturtium here, which nasturtium's great. These are called poor man's capers. You can actually pickle these, and they'll taste like capers. But I like to grow a lot of beneficial plants that bring in the pollinators, and these are edible flowers, so we add these to our salads and kind of jazz it up. But multi-purposing planting, let's just say that. All right, where do we want to go now? Oh, let's go to the flower field. Let's see, well, they can't follow me. Okay, I did clean out the greenhouse the other day. Here's the good, the bad, the ugly. I cleaned out the greenhouse. These were all the trays that I used earlier in the spring. So now I have to clean the basement before I can put the trays away for the season. But that's just another to do. So, okay, come on to the backfield. So we're putting in a walkway here, and we've strung it out just to see if we like the layout. Stay on the path, Ivy. So far so good. I like it. And this garden needs to get redone before the engagement party. That's a big fantasy of mine, and I'm having a very hard time. It's just a little overgrown, and there's a lot going on, so I really am having a hard time figuring out what I want to do and how I want to set it up. So it's a little cuckoo right now. So, okay. Come on this way. Yeah, we'll go this way. Okay, so here is the flower field and all of the glory that it is. There's my sweatshirt from this morning. But I'll kind of take you row by row. So this is gonna be a long video maybe. All right, here are my lilies, and I decided to do them to save space in crates. And don't know that I would actually do that again next year. I think I would just rather do them in ground. I guess I really didn't have space for it, but they're okay. But I think they would be healthier and straighter in the ground and everything. And so let's go down. Let's go down the front first. Row 1, I tried to put alike objects, like things that like it a little drier, and that things that I'm probably going to use as a dried flower. So I have some Craspedia, I have some Russian status, and I have some other types of status here. These are used for fillers. They're all just kind of coming in. They don't look like much now, but they're all just starting to pop a little color. When it comes in kind of all at once. I'll mass harvest it. So yeah, you want to wait for the little centers of it to kind of come in, and even more than that opened. But it kind of all comes at once. You kind of mass harvest it, and then you wait a little bit while longer, and then you get another flush. Usually the first flush is a little on the short side, but I say those ladies got some long legs. And then here's some, this is straw flower, and the straw flower has been, you know, through it and back, but here they are. A bunny just kept making this its meal. I don't know, Ivy, were you just not fast enough for this bunny? But somehow it did great. It came back from all the eating and pinching, and now it's lots of stems of beautiful straw flower. It's really pretty. It's a pretty color. And then this is the vintage white. These aren't ready yet. These are about next week, so you might see these next week in bouquets. I might hoard them to dry. I don't know what I'm gonna do yet. Ranunculus is a little, what am I doing here? Experiment. And then this is a crazy potato bed that I have some lettuce in, but trying some potatoes. Got some glads again this year. I don't know if people are glad fans, but I like them. I think they're pretty. These are where we keep our cucurbits, butternut squash, acorn squash, delgada squash, cucumbers, watermelons. Anything in that family is considered a cucurbit. Squashes, cucumbers, melons. All right, here's these two rows, these two beds right here are my zinnias, and I had this real fantasy of this second row here being the rainbow: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, and then this is a white filler called Feverfew. It's really pretty. So I had this fantasy of that for Pride Month, and then this is all like my kind of antique-y colors that are kind of different shades. And slugs, yeah, slugs. Slugs ate my zinnias not once, but twice. But ladies and gentlemen, we have the technology. We can rebuild. I reseeded. I used this wonderful product called Sluggo, which is iron phosphate, which is naturally occurring in the soil. The slugs are drawn to it, they eat it, and then they perish from this earth. So the zinnias are coming back. These are getting their second winds. All is fair in love and war, or somewhat. Okay, we have corn. My best friend Meg weeded my corn today. Ooh, what a lady, what a lady. All right, so there's the corn. That's kind of fun, right? I did it all tight pack. I said either we eat corn or we have corn stalks for Halloween and decor. Let's bring you down the most expensive aisle. Okay, so this is the Lysianthus bed, and it looks like nothing. And it is kind of nothing right now. Lysianthus is finicky to start from seed. It's a very desired cut flower. It's a beautiful cut flower. You can Google image it if you want, or maybe I could even put a picture of a beautiful Lysianthus bloom. I have started some from seed. I have 2 little patches, which I should have showed you over in the first bed over there. But I've ordered these in from Farmer Bailey. And I'll kind of explain. So you can purchase plugs already, like little seedlings already started, and they come in little 128 trays, and they come with probably 2 brackets sets of leaves. These I got back, I don't know, when were these delivered? These were delivered in March, February, and where are we? We're at June. They're very slow growing. They just kind of, you plant them in the field and then they just sit for 6 weeks and they don't move and they don't grow and they don't do anything. And they stay the same size and you're just kind of brokenhearted. And then all of a sudden, they start putting on some weight, they look a little bit taller, you get hope that like you're gonna get some flowers, and then before you know it, you will have beautiful Lisianthus blooms. And as you can tell, as we go further down the bed, they actually look in better shape. And what's wonderful and interesting about the Lisianthus is I actually bought kind of 3 different groups. So what that means is one group blooms at one time of the year, another group blooms at another time of the year, and then the third group blooms at another time of the year. So I should get staggered blooms even though I plant everything at the same time, but we won't know until it happens. So be on the lookout for Lisianthus. So let's go down these beds. These were the first 2 beds I planted. The stalk I was able to get out really, really early. The stalk is a brassica, so that's like a broccoli or a cauliflower, so they love it cold and chilly. They don't like to grow in the summer months, so like planting them in March was like their jam, and they really just kind of did well. I mean, I think I can do better with the quality, but they're pretty good looking this year, and I like all the little flowers. There's a lot of singles. The singles aren't as desirable as a double, and I will get down close so that I can show you the difference between a double. This is a beautiful double, and this is a single. So that is actually what more of a brassica flower would probably look like, and the doubles are more desirable. They are edible. They have a nice spicy flavor to them. And they're one of my favorite flowers. I really love them. I think they're very, very romantic-y. I think they're very graceful in a bouquet. And they're one of my faves. The snaps, which I'm usually like a no-brainer and I'm really good at, these are little shorties this year. So I'm hoping they put on a little bit more height. All right, so what's up with my floors, right? So Sharon, my volunteer, will come once a week and she'll sweep. I use the landscape fabric to help with the weeds, so that when I cut the flowers, I just kind of put the debris in the pathways, but it will get swept out once a week, so that it's not a mushy mess in here. So that's what happens. We get our floors swept here in the flower department. All right. So this is the Hortanova that I know you guys were like, what the heck is Hortanova? That's what I trip over. It's very easy. I have very big feet for a lady. I am not a ballerina. So yeah, and like, oh, you should have seen, I was tangled in it, something awful, and it was kind of funny. All right, so this is an experiment this year, this bed right here, okay? So we got a lot going on, so hold on to your horses. So if you see these little guys right here, these are actually Brussels sprouts. And so I'm gonna try to interplant some veggies into this bed here. So I have a little patch of Brussels sprouts. I have some larkspur that was direct seeded last fall that has come up. You got some of that in your bouquet this week. And then this is the second planting of sunflowers. I've already had one planting, and what I'm doing is I'm harvesting the sunflowers down to the bottom. So I'm not leaving a little nub like this. I'm actually cutting down to the ground and then replanting sunflowers. I'm adding amendments to the bed. I added some more fertilizer to kind of rejuvenate it. But I'm always crammed for space. So I just thought this interplanting would be good, and I could get a couple of spats of sunflowers out of one bed. That's helpful. So me and Phil planted yesterday over 300 sunflowers in this bed, 3 trays of 128, so that's a lot. So those will be done in a few weeks. It's just a moment's time. When you plant stuff out here, things tend to turn over a lot faster. Like these sunflowers down here will be ready next week, in a few days. Not next week, in a few days. Let me stand up on this. Yeah. So this one's called Pro Cut Horizon. And the reason why it's called Pro Cut Horizon is because sunflowers, usually their heads follow the sun, and these have been kind of hybridized to kind of stay straight up on the horizon. Okay, what else do we got? Oh, this is my crazy pumpkin patch. I fantasized for my son's wedding just like teal and blush colored kind of pumpkins. I don't know. So last year we did a big pumpkin patch and grew lots of beautiful pumpkins, and we're gonna try it again this year. So let's go look at the dahlias. The dahlias have been slow to come, but I think they're starting to sprout up a little bit. There are some that didn't come up, but what I will do is the ones that look really well, like this one right here. What kind is this one? Dazzling Magic. I think I got this one at Briggs. What I will do is I'll take a cutting off of this plant, off of this guy right here. I'll take a cutting, I'll root it, and then I'll probably label him and replant him into a hole that I didn't have success in, like one right there. Sometimes you put them in. This is on a drip system, so these could have gotten overwatered, so hence some of them didn't come up. Kind of the rule of thumb with tubers is you plant them in the ground and you don't water them until you see green growth. Once you see green growth, then they need the water. So where the whole field is on irrigation, I could shut off these rows, but then I think, oh, I need to water everything. So shame on me, right, for not listening to my own self. Do you want to see the really batshit crazy bed? You can bleep that out. So this is kind of like, it's not the meadow, but it's turning into the meadow. I have everything under the sun planted in there. I mean, you know, blueberries, hollyhocks, borage, foxglove, zinnias, dill, Queen's Anne lace, amaranth, alstroemeria, pansies, Dusty Miller, Rudbeckia covered in aphids, carnations, feverfew. Oh my God, what else do I see with my magical eyes? I have everything in here. Stock. I think I threw some snapdragons. Yeah, I just planted everything in here that was like extra or leftover or that I didn't have a plan for. So this will morph and come and grow and change and just get really, really crazy. But I think it's pretty. I also planted an elderberry bush right here. And I don't know if you've ever had Saint Germain's liqueur, but like, I don't know. I was thinking I could make my own liqueur someday. So that's the front of the house. We're trying our act, like I said, for the engagement party. So it's probably the neatest it's ever looked. We need to do a foundation planting. It needs some sprucing up. We've been here 4 years, so you know, it takes a beating. That's my husband's dahlias that we actually never fork up. We leave the dahlias in the ground and they come back every year. So I told my husband that means we keep our house too warm, because they're not supposed to be hardy in this area, and yet they come back every year. So we're doing everything. This is kind of, I call this Sarah's garden. And then down here is Will's garden. All of my gardens have names for different reasons. Will's garden is in flux right now. It's gonna get a big revamp. See, it's kind of looking shabby right now. And then zoom goes the cat. Like that big pot. And then my husband's working on a wood project to clean this area up too. Like I said, like it is the kind of situation where I want to start like tidying everything up and closing up loose ends so that this place can look good for the party and every day, because now that I work from home, I want things to look pretty, and farms usually don't look pretty. And I'm kind of guilty of that. So the cat is kind of funny. So that's it. That's a long tour. Hopefully we can edit this all together. I hope you guys had a good week. Next week we might do some jars, because like I said, I've got some shorty girls out there, so maybe we'll do some really pretty short pint glass or quart glasses. But I hope you guys have a good weekend. I hope we get a little rain, because a little rain is always good. And be good and be good to others. All right, bye everyone.